Hello, welcome to my MSS Great channel. In this video, you're going to see how to create an JSON dictionary object or key value pair object using the Dataverse table. The objects will be loaded using data from the Dataverse table, and we'll do it within the Power Automate. Let's see how. You can see this is the Dataverse table, the table called vehicle information. Basically, I have a sample car information loaded into the table, and these are the columns you can see in the table, and the data you can see the car model and the car detail like the acceleration, headlight, boot, brakes. So it has all the properties of a car within the Dataverse table, and you can see the columns, all the columns. When you click on columns, you can see all the columns here, and you can see the original column name with the business unit prefixed, and there are several columns. There are a lot of columns which are there in the Dataverse table, but I'll be interested in fetching only limited columns which are really useful for me to show it in the Power Automate. So I'll just choose the columns which I am looking for. Okay, and then we would create a dictionary object or the map key value pair within the JSON object, and how to consume that. So before we move into the creation of an object, let me show you what is the result of an object which would be created later. So basically, this is the type of object which will be created at the result. You would see the count of all the values which is stored, and a key. The key can be any key which you can use it. In my scenario, I am going to use vehicle type as a key. So for each vehicle type, it will load all the objects here. So basically, the values will be an array. This is similar to using so if you are familiar with the JavaScript, so it is basically using an array within a kind of an array. So that's how the JSON object works, and you could see that count is again we need to manipulate and add in. It doesn't come automatic. And key, it can be it's up to you what is the value you can add it as a key. So, and the values will be like an array of again a JSON object. Later I show you how the JSON object is formed. Okay, so this is how the JSON object structure would look like. Let's go back to the Power Automate and start creating a new Power Automate. Okay, so I just started naming the Power Automate with the dictionary object using the Dataverse table, and this is a manually triggered Power Automate. So let's start adding data, getting a data from the Dataverse. So I'm just going to get a data from Dataverse. Let me get the list of rows, list rows, and I choose the table. And in my case, it's a vehicle information. So I just quickly go back and then choose the vehicle information. And the parameters, I select the columns. So this is the one which I mentioned you before. I don't want to get all the columns. I'm interested only in few columns which are really helpful to create the JSON object. So what I do is I just choose only these columns. So basically, the select columns, you can choose the column separated by comma, and in my scenario I just copy pasted the what columns which I'm interested in: the make, model, and the submodel, vehicle type, release year, top speed, and the dimension. So I'm interested only in these columns. So I'm just going to use this and save quickly. It is saved, and as mentioned you before, if you are looking more into a columns, then you can always go into the columns here in the table and get the original value here. So that's what I did for getting the columns, just a tip. And once I get the columns, so what I'm going to do now is that this is not a mandatory step, this is an optional step, but I'm interested more in the value to be in a name value. So I want a specific column and the value in the specific format. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create my own structure so that it's easy for me to name the JSON object. So I'm going to select the previous object. I just select the body value. So now here I'm going to do my own mapping. So for example, the name, and then model and submodel, and for the name I'm going to select the make. So click on see more, you would see the make. So select the value, name value pair, and the model, you can select the model, and submodel, you can select the submodel. So similarly I will add other columns as well. Okay, so now you can see I have mapped all the columns, and then vehicle type, top speed. So I'm interested only in this. Why I'm doing this? I want to create my own JSON object with well-defined column name. That's it. So this is not a mandatory step, but still you can directly use the list rows, but in my case I'm forming my own JSON so that it makes really sense. Okay, let me name this as get vehicles, so that we know that it is a get vehicles which has a list of all the vehicles. Okay, so before we move on to another actions, let me save and test this. It is successfully saved. I just want to test it once. Why? Because I let you know why I'm doing this before. It has successfully run. Okay, I should see. Okay, so why I'm running it now? Because I really want to know what are the columns which is being fetched in the list rows and what is the name of the columns, just to have a better understanding on the output. So if you see the output here, properties, body, let's see the output. Okay, let's see the raw output here. So when you see the raw output here, forget about the header, we need the body. So we always get the body / values. That's how it comes in. So every time when you refer to this list rows, this is how the autocomplete or the formula would pick up body / the value. So it lands into this array of records. And if you see the array of records here, you see the data type, ID, e tag, e link. So these are all mandatory values which comes in. So these are all like kind of not interested field for me. So that's why I'm forming my own JSON object. And curious, if you see the vehicle type here, so right now I mapped it to the vehicle type. So in my case it would pick up only 0. Why? Because I mapped only the vehicle type. If you really want to map it to the string value of the vehicle type, you need to know this full field name. Why? Because if you go back to the Dataverse vehicle type and choose the column and this vehicle type of type choice. So if you have a Dataverse table with the column choice, it always emits two type of field in the JSON. One is the original choice value, then the second is the string value of the choice. So you can see here luxury value is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we are interested in label, not in the value. You can use value as the key as well, because obviously you have 0, 1, 2, 3, and your vehicle type can be integer as well. But if you go back and see later, and then you will get confused what is the value of 0. Okay, so in my case I am interested more in the label, not in the value. So how do you get that value? That's why I ran this again. I ran this once as a test to identify this exact column name. So in my case what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to copy this. Okay, then go back to the edit mode, and when you get the get vehicles, you need to remove the vehicle type because we are not interested in 0, and I'm going to add the formula here. So before adding a formula, what we do is that we make use of the existing vehicle type and just modify it. Okay, item of existing modify. So I'm not interested in vehicle type, I'm just going to change this value into this format value. So make a note of it for Dataverse if you have a choice value. Okay, so now it's easier. I just mapped it, and let's save it. So we'll have a vehicle type as a string now. Okay, so it has been saved successfully, and this vehicle type will be string for now. Okay, so let's move on to another activity action. So now what I want to do is that, in my case, my vehicle type is the key. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use another select object, and then take the previous value, which is the output of the vehicle. And if you note down here, I'm interested only in the vehicle type, so we don't really want to have a key value map. So click on this small icon here and change it to just a map. So here I'm interested only in the vehicle type. So let's go to the formula, and then go to the dynamic value, and then go to the output item of, then we need to have only the vehicle type, because vehicle type is the one we have selected. Okay, so we need to use this formula vehicle type. So you should be much familiar with the JSON to mingle around these. Sometimes the formulas or the autocomplete here doesn't help. You need to know really how these objects are created, and you need to know the JSON very well. So in my case, my previous object has the vehicle type. I'm going to get the specific item of it and then add it. That's it. So basically what it does is it creates an array of string with all the vehicle types. So if there are 100 car models, then it's going to create 100 vehicle types. Okay, so let me change to vehicle types, get vehicle types, and then save it once. Okay, successfully saved, and now we have all the vehicle types in a string array. I'm going to find out what are the distinct vehicles which you can use. So now I'm going to do is that I'm going to initialize an array. I can just name this array as distinct vehicles. So name same, I just copy paste here, and I'm looking for more of an array. Basically this would be an array of a string with only the distinct vehicle types. So for that we need to use a formula called intersection. Intersection of, I'm going to select all the vehicle types. So output, body of comma, and output. Okay, so why I'm using the same array? Because if, as I told you before, this get vehicle types will have 100 items of all the duplicate values. Like for example, there are 4 luxury car models and 5 sedan. You're going to see 9 items inside. Later when I execute it, I can show you. You're going to see 9 items. So I'm just going to use this intersection formula to get only the unique of vehicle types basically. Okay, so that's why I'm using I'm passing the same array so that it gets you only the matching values. That's it. Okay, so distinct vehicle has been created now. So now it has all the distinct value. The next step is to hold a dictionary object. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to initialize another variable, initialize a variable, and it is going to be your dictionary object, and I can name it as dictionary, and this is an kind of, what is that value? This can be an object or array, so it doesn't matter. It can be an array or object, it doesn't matter, because anyway going to hold an array. So I'm just going to leave it empty. Why? Because this structure is defined when you are adding the value to this array. Okay, so for now you can leave it as empty. So it's kind of you're initializing the variable, dictionary variable, that's it. Okay, so now I have added the dictionary variable. So now what I should do is that I need to fill in this dictionary with a key value pair. So for that I need to identify for each vehicle type. My vehicle type is the key, so I'll have to run for each of a key and then fill in the values basically. So what I do is that I just add for each, or the each object, which is a control apply to each. Let's name it to each vehicle type. Okay, each vehicle type, and the output is going to be, and this value is going to be like get vehicle types distinct. I'm going to run through the distinct of values. Okay, distinct of vehicles, that's it. So basically this distinct of vehicle types has should have only the vehicle types, which is like 4 or 5 value, which is a string value, and we are going to iterate that. Okay, each string. And now what I should do is that this is going to run it for each vehicle type, and for each vehicle type I need to get all the vehicles associated with that from this get vehicles. So that's the next step which I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add another filter array, and this filter array input would be your get vehicles, because I need all the vehicles to iterate. So I get all the vehicles to be iterated, like hundreds of vehicle models, and in that I'm interested in, I'm going to fill in for each vehicle type. So first vehicle type, it will run for each example. First it comes for luxury, sedan, sport. So first it comes for luxury, so I need to make sure that the whole array contains, it is filtered only by that luxury type and filled in. So luxury type, how do I find out the vehicle type? And this vehicle type is based on the, let me go to get vehicle, this is the one. So variables of distinct vehicle we have, and then get all vehicle. Okay, this is the one, and this is the output item. So again, item of vehicle type. Okay, and the formula is equal to the current item, which is running inside your loop. So current item, each cycle, current item, that's it. Okay, let me save this. Saved successfully. Then this is each vehicle type, and then let's see each vehicle type. Okay, each vehicle type, yeah. And so basically this filter array will filter for each of the vehicle type, and it returns you an array. We need to fill your dictionary with an array. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add append to array. Append to an array, where is it? Append to an array variable, yes. So here what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add it to the dictionary. Here is the place where I'm going to use my format. So if you go back here, I mentioned you the format. So I just copy paste this JSON format and paste it here, and you need to do your count. So basically the count doesn't come in. Dictionary usually you used to have a count of that particular key value, which is really helpful for your grouping by and then show a data column, and the key value is the value which is a vehicle type for us. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to fill in all this detail. So first count, how do I get the count? So basically it is a length of an array which is being filtered. So let me go to the formula and then say length of an filtered array. So output, which is the filter array, body of the filter array, and this would be the count, and the key is the vehicle type, so which we can just get the current item in our case. So I just choose the current item, add, and the next one, value is the return value of the previous filter, because remember it is filtered and then it returns an array of all the object which is filtered by that particular key or the vehicle type. So in my case it is just the body of all the vehicle type filter array of the output, so body of the filter array, add, that's it. Okay, so now our dictionary object is formed, and it is up to us how to use the dictionary object. Let's run it and then see whether it works, and then the dictionary object has been created. I'm going to test this one, so when I test, then I know whether this object has been created. Okay, it is executed. Let's see if there is any error. Okay, there is no error. It's still running for multiple values. Maybe it is okay. Done. Okay, let's examine whether it has executed and got the value. So we know the list rows, we know get vehicles, so get vehicles get all the value. Get vehicle types, you can see it gets all the vehicle type. As I told you, there are hundreds of cars, so for each car it gets all the vehicle types only. This is the input which is being passed. Remember, I created my own JSON object and passing this, which is the get vehicle, and I'm forming a distinct of value. So it is a type array string, just a string array of only the vehicle types, which is my key, and it's an empty. So if I filter and then see an append array, I can see the value of okay, so there are 80 luxury car in an object, and you can see all the values been filled, and it even has the luxury type and also the count and the key and the values. So this is the way you can create the dictionary object, and this dictionary object is really helpful to use it. Now I'm going to show you how to make use of this dictionary object to do some meaningful thing. Okay, let's do one thing like let's go back to edit mode. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to get a value from the dictionary object. How do you get the value from a dictionary object? By passing a key value. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to use the same filter array and name it as filter luxury. Okay, filter luxury cars. So I'm going to pass obviously the dictionary object, and what I'm going to do is that I'm interested in the vehicle type, so the dictionary object, same dictionary object, yes, same dictionary object, and I'm interested in only the luxury value. So basically we should use item, particular item of, and then vehicle type. Okay, just add this. So I'm interested in the vehicle type, and is equal to, you can pass the literal value because I know that I want only the luxury car, so I can pass the key value. Basically it's a key. Okay, sorry, this should be the key. So okay, because in our case key is this dictionary holds the key, not the vehicle type. So in our dictionary key is the vehicle type. So I'm just updating this. So my key value should match with luxury, then it will return all the luxury cars from the dictionary. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to form a HTML so that all the array can be easily used. So what I'm doing is that I'm just going to pass the filter luxury car body, and I just leave it to automate it. So automatic column. This is really helpful for creating HTML which automatically has the column header. Okay, so it creates a HTML tag, and what I'm going to do this HTML, probably I just send it as an email. Outlook, send email version 2, and I'm going to enter my own email. Okay, msdata.read, and then this is going to be my Dataverse Dictionary object. Okay, so here now I am going to just put the output, and it's all set. Yeah, yes, it's all ready. I'm going to save this and test it. Saved successfully. I'm going to test this. Hopefully I could get the better result as an email. Let me test this. It will take time to sign into the Outlook, so let me execute the flow. Done. Let's see, I should hear the email. Let's go back to the email. Okay, so this is my email, and you can see it has received the HTML. You can see in this email the values are in JSON format. We want it in a formatted HTML structure, so now I'm going to do HTML structure for only the value which we received from this dictionary. So let's go back to the powerautomate to get a structured format of the output which are only in the value. So what I'm going to do is that we are interested only in the values, not in the other part of the dictionary. So I'm just going to slightly modify the formula from the create HTML. Let's go back to the formula. I'm going to use the dictionary object which is the body of, and I'm interested only in the first array of the values, which is the values. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I really know that it returns only the one array index, so that's why I'm using the 0 here, and I'm going to just get only the values. Let's add, save this, and then execute. Saved successfully. I'm going to test it now. Let me run the test run, so hopefully I can see the value. It will take a while to create a connection. Okay, it has started executing, so it is executing now. Yeah, I got the email noise, I can see, and this is the first email and this is the second email. You can see here it is really formatted in a nicer way. So we are interested only in the value, so it automatically created a nicer HTML format of only luxury car, which is 80 items. Okay, and how it is done, let me go back to the, so when you filter and then append an array, the filter luxury has input, you can see all. So basically you would see all. Let me copy here and put it into the Visual Studio Code. So this is the JSON which has been formed by the dictionary array, and let me filter by the values, and then values and values and values. So this is the dictionary array which is formed, and you can see that there are 80 items here, 2 items, 15 items and 3 items. So this is the real dictionary object, and we are really interested only in values of this luxury. So when you run the filter array and filter by luxury, it returns only this object. So basically it returns only this object. Let me only this object. So when it returns only this object, I am just getting the body and then navigating to the first array which is 0 and only values. So you get all the values here. So that's the concept here. So I'm just using the 0 of and then getting all the array, and this forms the normal HTML format. Okay, so This is how you create a dictionary object and then consume the dictionary object. You can use the filter array to filter the object from the dictionary, and then you can use it the way you want it. Okay. Hopefully this is really helpful to you. Thank you so much. Subscribe to my channel.